Bonjour, Jayak. Hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and here in just a moment kind of get started. In the long room, we've got Frank Barker, and he's doing a card game in the language. A lot of fun, so pop on over here. And then on the other side of the wall, in the museum side, we have some of our Pokagon language folks doing a children's game. So they got some fun little children's activities, children's games. Even if you're an adult, everybody likes games, so we got two sets of types of games going on, so please pop on in and we'll see it.
Games are good.
Games are good. Games are fun.
Reduce that stress level. Yeah.
Big wedge.
Get a little back and forth. Can we get the screen down and bring up the internet? No, it's the same game, but you're welcome to come in. All right, go ahead. All right, well, there's a little, Yep. Projector, and if we can get on here. Because a little video will show the game a lot better than I will, and a lot more in your face, a lot more of that than me. And I'm Frank Dijnakas Magishwash and Dodam Bradley, Michigan and Donchbia Odopi Cassopolis had Dayan. I'm a school teacher by trade. I do kindergarten through 5th grade art. If you feel like I'm talking down to you, just kind of give me a little hand signal or something so I can turn off the teacher. All right, I have some people will say that, and say, I'm sorry, it's just, that kicks into gear. So while we'll do this, watch a little video to learn how to play the game. Yep. And YouTube. Great. And then a search for Old Maid infographic. All right. That's how it is.
Just a moment.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Yeah, that top one. That very top one there.
Slow down or back?
Yeah. Yeah, we're up.
Stop it. Make it big.
Yep, let's do that. All right, so let's go over the video. And it's a pretty simple game. All right. We're good. Yep. We're going to keep our pairs. We're going to add up for see who has the most at the end. Questions? Let me, So pretty simple, right? We're going to make pairs. If we can just get our lights turned back on, we can get rid of this. So we're gonna make pairs. We're gonna keep pairs. Person who has the most of the pairs is gonna get to keep the cards. Person who has the old maid is gonna lose. So let's did everyone get a card for the door prize? Should have a half a card. Everyone have one? All right, let's make some small groups. Oh. So let's break up into smaller teams of 4. Or I can split you up in teams too. Huh? We can do that, because I can divide you up into teams. I'll just say 1s, 2s, and 3s over here. Come on up. Life's not a spectator sport. Come on up. Yeah.
We got another group coming, I know. I'll set them up here.
Here we go. All right, so pick out the jokers. Pick out the jokers and pick out 1 queen. Pick out the jokers and 1 queen and put them back inside the box. Pick out the jokers and 1 queen. Oh, we'll get there. All right, pick out the jokers and 1 queen and put those back in the box. We're not playing them. All right. We got it? Go ahead, shuffle them up. Shuffle them up. What do we have? 2? You can come on over and start your own group. Yeah, that's fine. Because we're probably going to get a couple other people coming in there too. So don't worry about it. No problem.
How many do we deal?
You're going to deal out the whole deck.
We're going to play this for just a minute.
Here we go. All right, shuffle those up really good. All right, now, when we make a pair, they have to be the same numeral and the same color. So when you make a pair, you're going to have like the 4 of spades and the 4 of clubs. That's going to constitute 1 pair. And you're going to keep them because we're going to see who has the most pairs at the end. Okay? And so a pair is going to be the same color and the same numeral. We're not mixing them. So they have to be You know, if you have the 8 of diamonds and the 8 of hearts, that's going to be one pair. So as it is with our queen, now we have 2 that will pair up, but we're going to have 1 that won't. Yeah, ruin your poker hand, seeing all those cards. Just coming in, come on over. We'll get a group. I've got a handout right here, and we haven't gone over it yet, so.
Same color, right?
Yep, your pairs are going to be the same color. Let's grab a couple chairs. Here we go. We can just scoot this. Yeah, let's scoot this table back a little bit. All right. Hold on to this for a drawing.
Can you pull up another chair?
Sure can.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so take that deck and pass them out. Oh, you're going to have to include these guys. Well, do we want to go with a big group or you guys want to play a separate? Go. You know what? You 3 go ahead. Here we go. Shuffle those up and deal them out. All right. Shuffle them all out and then count out your pairs. Now, before we start playing, let's go over the vocabulary. All right, so with the verb forms, we've got 3 verb forms. We've got one verb that will make a complete sentence all by itself. So in this case, it's binchige. Binchige by itself is a complete sentence. He or she cleans. That's as in tidying up, as cleaning house. Binchige. He or she cleans. Binchige. That's our A form. That's our independent. That is a complete sentence all on its own. Binchiget is a conjunct. That's going to be a verb form that is going to augment an already existing sentence. If we said, I went to the store, that would be a sentence. But then if I was going to add to buy grapes, that would be a secondary sentence. That would be a subordinate clause. All right? So it has to go along with a verb that's already existing. So binchiget would be our conjunct. Now, if we were to take that conjunct form, and now I'm going to change the very first vowel. If it's a weaker vowel, it's going to change. So now instead of it being binchige, I changed that to bonchiget. I changed the verb into he or she who cleans. We turned it into a title. We turned it into an identity. So gete bonchiget, the old person who cleans house. Oh, no. He or she, old, cleans the house. Gete bonchiget. All right, so that's how that verb form comes into existence. All right, from the top. Toddy. Toddy. Gamble or play cards. Toddy win is a game, and we can use that to be a card. Toddy win. Toddy winuk. Cards, plural. Toddy winuk. And they're given an animate status. Dopnish o, take this. So when you're going to offer your partner, your neighbor a card, dopnish o. Dopnish o, take it. You're telling them to take one of your cards. Mishin e, kind of the wrong verb form for that, but it's for an inanimate. Give me one. We'll just pass that. My turn. Neen ashtuk. Your turn is geen ashtuk. So you tell your partner, geen ashtuk. Geen ashtuk. Your turn. Neen ashtuk. My turn. Neen ashtuk. Nasap. Things are the same. Nasap. Nij nasap. Goda nij nasap. These two things are the same. Nasap. Nijoteak. A word for twins. Means two hearts. Somebody put their head to a woman who's carrying twins. They're going to hear two hearts. That's where it's coming from, literally. Nijoteak. So, Kidawa, it is black. Kidawa, known, they are black. Something inanimate. The numerals are the numerals black? Mkdewa, known, they are black. Or, Mskwa, it's red. Mskwa, known, they're red. Something is red, the numeral. Squaw. Jikbagwa gas, a little shovel, a spade. Jikbagwa gas. Nagos, a diamond. Nagos, a star. Namosh zitde has dog feet. Namosh zitde has dog feet. Club. And das, a little heart. Das. Then we have our numerals. Go, nish, swe, niao, nianin, noek, schwatzo, shock, madatso. And then for our face cards, we can call them anything that we want. We can call it Jack, we can call it, Shkinwe, teenage boy. Shkinwe, he's getting a new voice. Shkinwe. Or we can just call him Jack. For our queen, we could just say Kwa. Or we could say, chief woman, Ogma Kwa. Then for our man, we could just call him Nina, man. Or we can call him Ogma. That's going to be all up to you. We good? Biggest thing, they have to be, pairs have to be the same color as well as the same numeral or the same face. Okay, we got it? All right, go ahead, let's start making our pairs. start making our pairs. They have to be the same. Lay them down.
They have to be the same color. Kind of have to pop in and out because of.
Oh, this is the wrong one. Yeah, I hear you. That's mom's, dad's giveaway time. Here you go. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Keep your pairs. Just put them out. Go through all of your cards. Go through all of your cards. Lay out your pairs. All right, the person sitting to the left of the dealer starts it out. Person sitting to the left of the dealer. Person to the left of the dealer. Person to the left of the dealer. Nope, you're going to show it to the person next to you and dot in the show. Take one. Nope.
Face up?
Hold it up to her. Take one.
Person on the left draws or?
Nope, person to the left offers the card. Okay, so who dealt? You did, so it's going to go to Kevin. Kevin's going to hold his cards up to and say, dot in the show. There we go. Did it make a pair? No. So then you're going to show
So if you get a
Lyman.
pair then,
Yep.
then you put it down and then
Yep.
go on.
Tell him, dot in the show. How we doing?
So I dealt.
You dealt. It's going to go to her. She's going to hold her cards up to this one. She's going to say dot and show. She's going to take one. There we go. So if you can make a pair, you play it. If not, you just hold your cards to the next person and tell them dot in the show.
3? I got it this way.
All right.
Put it in there. She's trying to get rid of her, got the gun.
She says, take a card. Take a card.
So, but get that, isn't that like real?
Old.
Oh, old, okay.
Well, it's the same thing.
Okay, like
Get
genuine.
that. Old time. Old
time.
fashioned.
Oh, okay.
The real thing.
So if I
Get
call
that.
it that initial quay, I tell her to take that lady away.
Yeah, that was so quick. All right, so keep going and we'll make our pairs. Ween. Weenashtuk. Weenashtuk. Tuk. Weenashtuk. Tack would turn it into a location. We sit still too long. Oh.
Does it matter order if you say like red 1 or 1 red?
Doesn't matter. No, it's one of the languages that they call a free word association,
Okay.
a free word order. Just generally, what's more important is coming first.
More important.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You know, Mizio Gumak Nuijia. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
So you say,
Mizio Gumak is more important.
okay.
Mizio Gumak Nuijia.
Okay.
I got to go to the bathroom.
Bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. Dawel Gumgok to the store. Nuijia. I'm going.
So
Or
the
time.
information that you're trying to convey comes before the extra. The modifiers.
What's more important?
Yes.
So if I say, show me to me, I mean, don't give it to me.
Almost. You would turn it into a command negative form. Nope, it would be Gego. Gego Mishin. Gego Mishin. Don't you. Prohibited. It's good. You're good. You're safe. You're safe. You're not gonna be the old maid. Yep. Keep continuing.
There's no name for
King.
king, queen, and...
We don't really have any kingdoms. You know.
Oh, there is a king right here. It says
Yeah. Ogama Kwe is queen. Ogama king, but it's just chief. That was an appointed position. It wasn't something that you inherited from your father. King, Ogama. Or we can just go with Nena, right? But, you know, big drum people get touchy with that, taking on that Ogama status. It's just like, yeah, got my ass chewed royally one time. Ooh, let go. Mono would work. Mono is take it easy. Do something. Mono. Oh, you're left standing.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Who's got the most pairs? 9. 9 wins.
How do you say you cheat?
Oh, that's a good one. All right, you win the cards.
Thank you.
Play again if you want, or prepare for the next. All right, we have one group that wrapped up. If all your cards are played out, you're safe. Oh no, like Russian roulette. Like Russian roulette.
Say this word.
Today, well known. They are black.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's black. Today, well known. They are black.
Poker with any of us.
Yep. And then same thing. Squaw, no.
Go right around the table.
He's just moving around. Take a card and this.
So we can start over now, right?
Okay. Do we have the old maid who was left standing? Oh. And who won? Who has the most pairs? All right. So when you guys are all finished, you can just wrap up the cards and you can take them home. Or if you want to play again, go ahead. We got a group that's going on their second game. Kidewa. It is black. It's not an adjective. It's a verb. So as far as the abstract of just black,
There's not really a.
I guess that on that. black color. Kide nande. But kide wa, it's black.
But if it's a verb and you say niche de wa, you're saying
Black water.
it's being black.
No, black. It,
Oh, I
it would be
see.
like
Shawnee.
water. It is black.
Okay. And that's just the way you speak. It's not, yeah.
'Cause, well, fish in a bucket is inanimate, so it'd be kide wa.
Okay.
Bish. Kide wa, bish. Bish. Kide wa. Or make it even shorter, just kide. Kide bish. Kide bish.
That means a cheater. That means a cheater.
Got 9 pairs.
So he wins the cards, all right. So quiet over here. That's right.
Concentration.
Uh-huh. I took a tour of this school, a little Montessori school, and it was so quiet. It was the quietest school I was ever at. Everybody was just working on their stuff. You know? I was like, all right, cool. Kids are motivated. Yep, I'm just playing until they're gone.
Take the old maid, darkness, oh,
Oh,
and you get
yeah. Doc Michelle Bendiget. Get that Bendiget. Oh, don't take off yet. Okay, before we break apart, take out your the ripped card. The ripped card. Do you have a ripped card?
No.
Yeah, you can't win if you don't have a ripped card. All right. Did you get one?
We all know where she's sitting.
Who else? Who else needs a ripped card?
Right here. We know where she's sitting.
You're down to just a few, too.
All right, let me get my young person over here. Reach in there and grab one. What do we have? Oh, we'll let her swallow. Shock. Which one? Oh, Dasin. No, Nagosin. Excuse me. Nagosin.
8.
Schwarzo. 8. Diamond. 8. Diamond. That's you? Here we go. We'll make sure her card matches. Yeah. And we have a match.
Congratulations.
All right.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's fancy.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Is it Frank?
Yep, Frank.
Yeah, those aren't on here.
This is Tade.
Tade. Tadi.
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 Gui tadi min. We are.
We.
That we is going to be future tense. A very, and we intend to. And then the min at the end makes it a plural. And the G in the front of the we means that we're including the person you're talking to.
We Tadi men.
Gui tadi min.
I'm sorry, I make you go.
No problem. No problem.
Tadi.
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 Yep. Tadi.
How are you?
Which one?
Cards.
Cards. Yep.
Tadi
Tadi
win.
what? Tadi what? Tadi winnock.
Tadi win not.
Tadi winnock.
So this sounds like knock.
Tadi winnock. Yep.
Knock or no?
Knock.
No.
Knock. Tadi winnock. Tadi win in.
They already do.
Well, who won over here? Did we have a winner? 2 winners? Okay, I'll get another deck of cards. If your group has a tie, let me know. I got prizes for both of the winners. That's right. Look, you can see the tear stains on them too if they're used from the casino.
Appreciate it.
That's got Madeline Roy, who was just
Bean the gag, bean the gag. Jeep the buck. Well, if I cross my arms, it creates feedback.
It's that underarm feedback.
It is. It's underarm feedback. It's magic.
All right.
All right, Boozhoo Jayak. Boozhoo. Kevin Finney and Dijnikaz. I know some of you guys, not everybody here. My name's Kevin. I'm here, honored to be here. It's always a really awesome thing to come to these gatherings and to be surrounded by beautiful Anishinaabe people, beautiful Anishinaabe thinkers, and to see so many people from so many places who come together to spend time together and to share. And it's really an honor to be invited to come in and to teach and share a little bit about what I know. And I only know like a little bit about stuff. So I'm going to share a little bit of that little bit today, and we're going to have some fun. So a little bit more about me. I serve as the executive director for the Jijak Foundation for the Gun Lake tribe, the Machipineshuish Potawatomi. We're located about halfway between Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo, Michigan. Jijak Foundation is a cultural nonprofit organization established under the tribe. We have our board of directors where our whole focus and work is the revitalization of Anishinaabe lifeways, traditional knowledge, and in kind of an interesting way. We have a philosophy that I really love. It's a beautiful philosophy, and that's that for any challenge a community faces, there is a solution based in the culture. That's a really powerful concept to grasp, that your culture contains the solutions to any problem that your community faces. There's a cultural answer for it. And so we spend a lot of time like looking back and looking forward, always. We're always looking back and looking forward. That process of looking back is always asking questions, finding out what we can from elders, learning, getting teachings, learning about history, finding out where things have come from, understanding the story of all the generations and generations before today. And then taking that and looking forward and thinking about what those gifts are and saying, what, for those next generations, what can we do? What can we do to be better ancestors? How can we be a better ancestor? And what choices can we make today? So that's a little bit about our work. We do a lot lately, in the last few years, we've done a lot with food sovereignty. That's been a big aspect of our work. We have a small tribal farm, about 6 acres, and we grow all sorts of rare and endangered Anishinaabe crop varieties that we're trying to restore and take care of, and we're bringing back a lot of knowledge on traditional foods, you know. So we work real hard to try to bring back knowledge of how to prepare the foods, what are the feasts, what are the ways to be able to do this. And we also have a sugar bush. We have a beautiful sugar house, which we did about 800 taps this year. We make maple syrup, but a lot of granulated sugar, and we also make ziwabo, which is maple vinegar. And so today, I'm going to talk about how to make a specific thing which comes from the past and is used for maple sugaring. So I did this talk yesterday, and it was more formal. Like, we did a slideshow, and there was a lot of words in the language in there. And then after we went through the slideshow, then everybody got to play with bark. So today is like the less formal, more hands-on, more fun aspect and element of this workshop and activity. So what this is right here is what we're going to make. And this one's not done yet. We started this one yesterday. This is called a Biskakwanagin. When I first learned about these, I learned about this as a Biskitanagan. But the difference is Biskitanagan is a word in Ojibwe. So an Ojibwe word is Biskitanagan. Biskakwanagin is a Potawatomi word, I've been told. And what that refers to is as two parts to the word. The first part is that beskakwe, which talks about folding something. And the second part of the word is noggin, which refers to it being a dish. It's a container. It's a folded container. And these are used at the sugar bush to collect maple sap. That's what these are for. This is a sap bucket. But they have other uses as well, which I'll talk about. But at a sugar bush, in the old days, at the Zispoktagun, at the sugar bush, most families, Anishinaabe families, had about 1,500 taps in our area. That's 1,500 spiles sticking out of trees. 1,500 buckets that have to be emptied every day. And every year, you need 1,500 buckets. That's a whole lot of buckets. The way that those buckets were made is just like this. And the amazing thing about this technology is that you can manufacture 1,500 buckets fairly quickly using this technology. And the other part about this is that when you store those things, because all of that sugar bush equipment years ago at the sugar bush was stored at the sugar bush. It wasn't like people were like, well, we're going to move now. We've made our sugar. We're going to go to our fish camp, and we're just going to haul 1,500 buckets with us and our sap troughs, and everyone cached everything away. They stored that. So the way that these are made is they're made by taking the wigwas and heating it up and folding it into shape and then securing it. So we're going to work on doing that today and working with the wigwas that I brought with me. And also we are going to work with another amazing thing, and this is what people call weekup, weegob, or weekbeesh, depending on where you're from. This is basswood bark, the inner bark of a basswood tree. And so those are our two materials and resources it takes to be able to make these things. I'm going to talk a little bit real quickly about the wigwas, the birch bark. So one of the greatest things that you can learn and do in your lifetime is to get to know all of the living things which are out there in creation. Like, get to know them, you know, like, I really mean that. You know, trees, the Mitagok, are like, they're like people. You know, a lot of people wander around every day and they see trees, and I guess they don't really realize what a certain tree might be, or think about, well, what's the name for that tree? But trees are kind of like people in the sense that, you know, if you're walking around, you might see an inatuk, a maple tree, and maybe you don't know what it is, so you're like, well, that's a tree, I know that. But then there's another level to that knowledge, which is, what is the name for that tree? This is like people. Like I might have seen Michael before, and I'm like, I know that guy, I've seen him before. And then I learned that he's Michael. Well, how much do I really know about Michael if I know his name? Like if I spend time with Michael and I hang out with Michael, I get to know Michael pretty well. And I start getting to know what he's good at, what he likes, where does he hang out, where does he spend his time. And after a while, I begin to really value him as a friend, and we have a relationship as friends. And that's how it is with all of these trees as well. And so that's a really important thing to do, because all of these things are all given as gifts for all of us to be able to live in a good way and to live a good life. This wigwas is very, very special. And there's a lot of different teachings on how this tree came to be, and it's the spirituality involved in this gift. And there's a lot of great stories about Nanabush. Some people call him Nanabush, Waynabojo, Manabojo, depending on where you're from. Our great uncle who taught us how to be able to use this special material, this special gift. And there's no birch trees that I've seen in Oklahoma. Apparently they don't grow there, but they grow in Michigan, that's for sure. And when you go to harvest wigwas and you're going out into the woods to gather this stuff, it's not just a simple thing. There's a lot of knowledge of how to be able to go and do it properly and what you're looking for. So the first thing you do when you go out to harvest wigwas, you have to go in the right season. There's like kind of two seasons for harvesting wigwas. The one is summertime, and we refer to certain bark as summer bark. So this bark here, all the bark I brought today is summer bark. The summer bark is smooth. When you feel it, it's smooth. It's golden colored, and it comes off in the summertime. So now, different places, if you go to northern Minnesota or midway up in Michigan, you'll have a little bit different season on when you can harvest that bark, but you want to harvest it when the sap is up for summer bark, which usually happens in June. June and July are good bark peeling times. And during that time, the tree has taken all of its sap and all of its moisture and it's just pushed it up into the tree. And when you go to harvest that tree, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to bring your sema with you. So you want to speak to that tree, you want to talk to that tree, you want to let that tree know what you're going to be doing and what you're asking of it. So if you're going to make sap dishes, you want to let that tree know that this is what this purpose is going for, and this is how you're going to be helping us. And ask, will you be willing to assist? Will you be willing to? When you peel a tree, the first thing that you want to do after that is you want to check the bark down towards the lower portion of the tree. So you use a knife, a kolman. I don't usually use this type of knife. I just grabbed this. This is a different type of knife. I'll talk about it later. But you take and you make a little cut. I usually about just 2 or 3 inches, just like that. And you want to pull the bark, and you're going to pull it back, and you're going to bend it, and you're going to feel it in your hand, and you're looking at it, you're bending it, you're checking it. Anyone here ever made black ash baskets before? When you go out to harvest a black ash tree, you just don't take and see the first tree, you go, that's a black ash tree, let's cut it down. You got to check it first, You take a chip out, you look at the wood, you look at the growth rings, you bend it back and forth. It's the same thing with weegwas. And the reason why we do that is because of, I said this yesterday, but there's kind of a cool word that I learned. I really like words a lot, whether they're words in Nishnabemon or good words in English, but good words are cool because every word is an idea. And the more words we have, the more ideas. We don't have a word for it, then it's just abstract. But this word is phenotypical, all right? Phenotypical. So I was with a friend of mine, we were up in the woods, and I was talking about this, about birch trees. I said, well, man, there's just so many different types of birch bark, like it doesn't, it's crazy because you could have a really big birch tree that has really thin bark. You could have a really small birch tree that has really thick bark. You could have one that has all kinds of eyes and ones that have hardly any eyes and ones that split into layers and ones that don't split into layers. And they're all different, and there's different words in the language to describe that. And my friend said, those are phenotypical differences. And I was like, what the heck is a phenotypical difference? And then they explained, they said, okay, if we look at people, right? We're all the same species. We are all human beings. We're all people. But if we look around the room, we all look different. No two people are identical. We all have different genetic characteristics. We have slightly different hair, different body shape, different eye color, different shaped noses, different things that we're good at. These are things that are variations that you find within populations. Trees are the same way. They all have phenotypical differences. So those are the things that we're looking for birch bark. So if I'm going to be harvesting weegwas to make a canoe, if I'm going to build a G-mon, I want to have bark which is going to be really, really thick. It has to be over an 1/8 inch thick and pushing a 1/4 inch. I like really thick bark for canoes. It has to be able to be durable and hold up. It has to be flexible. When I bend that weegwas back, if it starts cracking apart or breaking or splitting into lots of little layers, it's no good. And I will leave it right on the tree and walk over and find a different tree to go and speak with and ask to help me. And I might look at 60 trees, 120 trees to get just one for a canoe, even if the tree's big enough and straight enough. If you're going to make quill boxes, and you guys have probably seen quill boxes, there was an elder who I used to visit who made quill boxes, and he lived up at Burt Lake, Michigan, and his name was Bernard Parkey, and he made quill boxes. And he always liked the bark that splits into layers. Like if I was getting bark and I wanted really thick bark that didn't come apart, he didn't want that bark. He wanted the thin stuff that split into layers because he was splitting it and dividing it up so that he could make those really thin pieces to pierce with the porcupine quills for his quill boxes. So depending, it's like when you're going out, you're looking for those different characteristics and things. When you're harvesting this bark, you're looking for other things too on it. So I'm going to give you a little bit of terminology, all right? In English and in Potawatomi for this weegwas. The first word, obviously weegwas. Weegwas is birch bark. But what I've been told about that word, and I've been told different things by different people, but that was, we know what was is, right? Who can tell me what that part of that word is when you refer to something that has that was in it? Like wasmoen. I just heard it. Who said it? Yeah, it reverses light. Was. Yeah. So like it's in like the word for like a light, like up here light. Lightning has that was in it. A firefly has was in it. It's referring to the light. And that we part is talking about something which is sweet. So I like to think of that when I'm in that birch forest and I see all those beautiful white trees and the way that there's a certain light in that forest that is just kind of this beautiful kind of glowing brightness that you don't find in other forests. And that's that sweet sort of that light from the birch bark. On the bark, you notice there's all these little lines here. You know, these little lines, and sits on the tree just like this. So the lines go horizontally. These are skijuk. That's what they are, skijuk. These are the eyes on the tree. And these are, in English, they're called lenticels. And what they do is they do an important job for the tree. The birch bark is 100% waterproof. Water can't go through birch bark. That's why you make canoes out of it. That's why you cover wigwams with it. That's why you make water buckets out of it and containers for your food. It's waterproof. It's pretty amazing. But because of that, that tree has to be able to breathe. And so what these are is they're tiny little gaskets that allow for gases. So when the tree is respirating, it can respirate through these little tiny lenticels, through these little eyes. So when we're harvesting bark, we look at the eyes because some of the eyes are going to be weak. And when we go to bend the bark, they're going to crack, they're going to break up, and they're not going to be any good. Or they'll be really long. Like if they're like that long, they're going to always crack open on you and they won't be any good for what you need. And there's no point in wasting in that bark and that gift. The next thing that we look at here are these right here. And these are nimkiwok right here. These are thunderbirds. Does everyone see those? You see the wings? There's a head right there, and there's the wings. And that's part of the gift of this tree, and there's a lot of stories that go. I'm not qualified to tell those stories, but there are stories about how those thunderbirds came to be on this bark and on this tree. And so some people don't like them at all, like because they're, you know, when you're folding the bark or working with it, this is a kind of a hard spot to work with because there was a branch here at one point in time. There was a little tiny branch, and that created that pattern, and it makes the bark stiff there. But I like to always see, like if I'm making a basket, I want those thunderbirds to be prominently displayed. Like, I like that.
You pick the bark after the first thunder.
Yeah, I've heard that too, about harvesting after that thunder. And the other thing I've heard too is that birch trees will never be struck by lightning. I've been told that as well. And that not only is that something that Anishinaabe people have always said, that in Europe they say that as well. Like there's all these traditions about thunder and birch trees and this connection between them. So that's kind of interesting. Another thing that I look for when I go to harvest bark is that the best bark has moss on it. So if you look at this has moss growing around here. You can see it. This one doesn't have as much, well, it has a little bit of moss, but a lot of it's kind of flaked off, but it's kind of like a lichen. When that stuff's growing on the tree, that's a really, really, really good sign that you have good bark. Once you harvest your bark and you take it off the tree, you have to worry about what it's going to do, because the bark is never stable. It always is moving. It always is trying to do something all the time. It's animate. It's a living thing, and what it wants to do is it wants to just roll up really tight. Like it just wants to grab itself and just go like that. And if it does that on its own, you will never be able to undo it. It's not, like if you take this piece of bark, you can see it, this one wanted to curl. It's already wanting to curl a little bit. If we took it outside, like if it was humid and hot like yesterday, in 15 minutes of laying this outside on the pavement, it would be a tube. And it roll itself into a tube, and that tube does not unroll. You can soak it, you can boil it, you can heat it, and it's always going to be a tube. So when we harvest the bark, what we do is we roll the bark. We don't want to roll it this way, the way it wants to curl, because it won't uncurl. So what we do is we roll it the opposite way, with the lenticels, the eyes going back and forth like this. So if I'm going to make a gym on a canoe, I have a 16-foot piece of bark, I'm going to roll it from one end to the other, then I'll just put a tie on it, just like that. And that prevents, you can see it wanted to kind of curl in a little bit there, but it prevents it from curling in. So that's how that bark is stored. So that's a summer bark. The winter bark is the next type of bark, Popon winter bark. And the winter bark is harvested in the winter time. But I'm going to put a correction on that because it's not technically the winter time. The same time and the same weather that makes maple sap flow, sugar bush weather, is the best time to get winter bark. So let's say it's been cold. It could be the spring, it could be early spring, it could be late fall. It's been 30 degrees, 40 degrees, and suddenly you get the 50-degree day and the sun is on the trees. That's the time to get the winter bark. And the winter bark is hard to come off the tree. So in the summertime, when you run your knife down the tree, the bark will almost just want to open up. It's like you're unzipping this zipper and it makes this sound and it's all moist and wet and I can't even make this sound, but it's a really cool sound. And then you can take that off. In the winter bark, you go to take and peel that tree and only a few trees are going to peel. You might check 20 trees and you get 3 pieces of bark. But that bark is going to be really, really good. And the nice thing about it is that it looks different. It's not smooth to the touch, it's rough to the feel, very rough to feel, and it's dark. It has a dark kind of a reddish, orangish color to it. And when you get it wet, it oxidizes with the air and it turns really dark red, like an ochre color, like onamon. And that you can etch off. And that dark layer is the new layer of growth in the tree. So you can take a knife and a hot washcloth, take a hot rag, put it on the bark once you make a basket, and it soaks it, and then you can scrape. And you can scrape beautiful florals, or you can put a moose on it, or you can put your clan on it, or anything that your imagination desires, you can scrape into that bark. So that's the most valued, beautiful bark that there is that winter bark, but it's very, very difficult to get. Okay, bark working tools. A few things that I use a lot when I work with bark. I use this. This is a key tool. We're going to use them today when we're doing these. This is a Migos. Migos is an awl. It's an awl. And it's not just any awl. Like if you use a round awl, like a ice pick looking awl, it's just like a tube, cylindrical shape, and you go to put a hole in this weegwas. I'll just put a little hole right here so you can see. If I just pushed into that, what would happen is it would crack the bark because it has a grain. You can see the grain where the eyes are, and it'll split it open. So this awl, in order to have a good bark awl, it has to have 4 sides to it. And it's square. That square shape is what allows you to be able to make the hole. As you're pushing, you're twisting. And what you're doing is you're really cutting a hole in it. But it's not totally drilling it out. Like you wouldn't want to use like your DeWalt drill with a drill bit to drill a hole in the bark, because that would actually remove the bark. And what this is doing is it's sneaking its way in there, and it's making a little hole, and it's making it a little bit bigger, but all the bark that was there is just getting pushed out of the way. So then you take a piece of spruce root or tamarack root and jack pine root, and when you go to do your sewing, you're going to push it through that hole, but that bark being kind of spongy, it goes back out and it fills it. And so it makes it really, really tight and really nice. So that's a really critical thing. This is a really traditional awl. I'll pass it around too so you can see it. And this one I got to regrind the tip on because I broke it off. But this is what was used for a long time, many generations before steel came around, for a steel awl. This is a bone awl, and this is made out of a Macole. Anyone know what that is? Okay, I'll tell you a funny story about this. So I was asked to go down to this museum in Chicago to talk to this group of college museum interns, right? and they wanted to make something. So we were working with elm bark, right? So we were making these little elm bark containers, and we had all of these. Everyone had a migos there, and they're all making holes. And of course, one of the girls, they're all girls, and one of them says, she goes, well, but what did the Indians use before they had steel? And I said, well, they used a bone awl, and I had one in my toolkit, so I grabbed it and I pulled it out. I said, just like this. And they're all very studious college students, lots of great questions. And one of them said, what sort of bone is it? And I said, well, it's the penis bone of a black bear. And they all looked at me like confused at first, and then they all laughed. And then like the girl who asked the question said, yeah, right. She's like, no, really, what sort of bone is it? And I said, it's the penis bone of a black bear. And then she's like, penises don't have bones in them. And I was like, well, not people. And then they had to actually get on their phones and all Google it, and they're like, oh my gosh, some animals actually have a bone in their penis. But it is. So this is really one of the most desired parts of that bear because it's incredibly dense. It's got the square shape to it. And the other thing I will tell you is, and I will not tell these stories here, but there are a couple of really hilarious Nanabush stories about this tool and about the act of using it on the birch bark. So, but I always have fun. My adopted mother, Sydney, she wanted one of these really bad. So she was just like, I got to get one of those. I have to have one. So I got her one, right? And so she had it, and then she brought it to ceremonies and everywhere, and she was waving it around, and she was so proud. She had a little thing on her neck, and she would wear it. And then one of the other ladies there really, really wanted it, so she gave it to her as a gift. And then she came back to me, and she says, well, I have to have another one. I said, okay, well, I can get you, I said, it might take a little while, but I'll get you another one. And she goes, it has to be bigger than hers. I said, okay. So I was on eBay, right? And I was like looking for something else, and I thought I would type that in, bacillum, that's what they call those bones, and there was all the raccoon ones, and I found a walrus one on there. It was like that big, and I got it for $40, so I brought it over, and she loved it, and so then she had to go up there and say, look at mine. I don't think it would work too well on birch bark, though, but the other thing that I use this for as a tool is when I'm working with wood, and I'm carving, and I'm making like a feast spoon or a bow, and the old way of working the wood, the old way of carving, is you carve the wood green. So you don't like the Western European way of working wood is you cut wood into blocks and you dry the blocks so they're rock hard. And then the wood's stable, and then you carve everything out. The Anishinaabe way of working wood is you cut the wood when it's full of sap, and while it's still green, even if it's a crazy burl with nothing but knots, it's so much easier to carve green wood. It's soft. It's like carving butter. And so you take your knife and you carve it. Once you get it carved down and then you get it thin enough to the shape you want, like it's definitely a spoon, it's all pretty much spoon shaped, but then you put it in a pot of boiling water and you cook it. And you cook the sap out and it's like until it's tea. When the water looks good, like a good strong tea, then you dump the water out and then just set the spoon out, leave it overnight, or the bowl, and it'll dry the next day. And when it dries, it's totally stable. It's cured it. Because the sap got replaced by the water, and then the water just evaporates into the air, and then you got a beautiful thing. But then it's not shiny yet. In order to make it shiny and nice, you take a scraper, like you could break a piece of glass, just like a piece of broken glass, and use that, and it scrapes all the rough part off the wood. And then the last step that you do is called burnishing. And you take like if you use a bone like this one here, you can take that and you take a little bit of bear grease and put it on that wood, and you just rub it like the crazy, and it just makes it so shiny. So that last story on this, I was doing that. I was in my workshop and I was making a spoon and I was rubbing it, and so my friend Felicia came over and she was like, so what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm making my spoon shiny. And she says, how do you do that? And so I explained the whole process and everything, and then somebody else come over and they was looking at the spoon, it was done, and they says, well, gosh, that's really smooth and shiny, like, did he put a finish on it, like a urethane or something? She goes, no, he rubbed it with his bare dick. I'm like, oh no, don't say that. And then everybody laughed. It was so funny. So, okay, enough about this. All right, so that's a little bit of introduction onto the wigwas. We're gonna work with and fold up and make these biscuit noggins. We've got 2 of them that have already been folded, and we're gonna tie them. And then we have, I think, maybe 4 or 6 sheets of bark. I think 6 more sheets of bark that we can heat up and do the bending and that sort of work with them. In order to tie them, though, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make the string to tie them. So I'm gonna hand this out to you guys. And this is, I want everyone to try saying, everyone say weak beach. Weak beach. Different communities can say it different too, so don't quote me on that and be like, well, I talked to Jim and he says it different, or I talked to Billy. Because they might say it their own way. Oh. All right, so I'm coming around. Everyone's going to get some weak beach. This is going to be fun. If you've never done this before, if you've never twisted up, you're going to learn an important skill. It's a simple skill. It's like tying your shoes. You know, once you know how to do it, you'll always know how to do it. And then you're going to get hooked at it, making string. And then some of you will get really hooked, and you'll be at the restaurant, and then there'll be a napkin, and you'll be tearing it apart, and you'll be making ropes out of it. If you go to prison and you can escape out of the window, you can make ropes out of your bed sheets. Like, this is a critical stuff. Here we go. Oh. There you go. Yep. All right, coming around this way here. We got weak beach. Weak beach. Weak beach. Don't get it tangled too. Like, I'm going to tell you right from the start, getting it tangled is not what you want to do. That's not going to be a good thing. And keep it untangled. I got more weak beach too, so over here, I'm going to grab more. So what weak beech is the inner bark of the basswood tree, the American basswood. It has a big heart-shaped leaf, and the wood is really soft. And they're very common trees in our area. I don't know if they grow here, because I've never been here before, so I don't know a lot about the trees of this place. But they're a beautiful, beautiful tree. And because the wood is soft on a basswood tree, on the bark is really thick, and it's like very fibrous. And so when we go to harvest this to make weak beech, what we do is we go and find a basswood tree, but we don't want a big one. I mean, they get really big. You don't want a tree like that, because you get greedy and you think, oh, I'm going to have tons of basswood. But you want a little one, and the reason why is because as the tree gets bigger, the bark gets weaker. So the smaller the tree, the stronger the bark. So the rules for harvesting this is what you're going to do is you're going to find a small tree, and when you cut it, you don't cut it right off at the ground. Cut it about this tall right here. That's about perfect. Just below your waist, right there, down on your thigh. If it stands about maybe 2.5, 3 foot up, then what will happen is that these things grow sucker shoots. So if you cut it, like you go back the next year and it'll have where you cut it off, it'll be a whole bunch of branches. And then 3 or 4 years later, you'll go back to that same tree where you cut it, and there'll be like 20 more. It's like a big bush, and you can always just keep going back to those same basswoods and taking and harvesting from that tree. So the one tree will keep providing you with more if you do this properly. When you harvest, you cut the tree, and then you go up to where the branches start and cut it off, and then you peel it. You peel the bark off in long strips. And you don't just take one strip all the way down. It's like peeling, like you wouldn't do that with a banana. Picture it like a banana. Nobody eats a banana and peels one peel all the way off and then does the next one. Like you go a little ways, all four, all the way around. And you get those long strips of bark. You coil them up in a coil, usually about that big around, and I tie them with a piece of basswood bark. And I take them out to the lake. And I go out and I put it underwater. And I leave it there for about 4 to 5 weeks. It's got to sit under the water for 4 to 5 weeks. And you don't want to go look at it. Don't look at it. Don't mess with it. Just leave it be. After 4 to 5 weeks, you go back out and you pull that basswood out, and it's no longer big stiff coils of bark. It's fine ribbons. And what the water does to the bark is the bacteria, the little bacteria, they're like little tiny beings that live in that water, are going to do the work for you. They're going to have a feast. They go right into the bark, and then all the sugars and starches that make the bark hard and stiff, they eat that up. And it takes them about 4 to 5 weeks to eat it all. And when their feasting is done, all of your bark is going to fall apart in these beautiful soft ribbons that then you can make string and cord and other things out of. But if you want to make it strong, there's one other step to do. The last step is you boil it. You take that bark out, and then you put it in a big kettle and you boil it. It doesn't matter what kind of kettle. Now the other thing about this basswood is, let's say that you decide that you're going to make a bag or a net, or you need a bunch of basswood for something, and it's January, right? And it's snow this deep outside. Well, how am I going to? You can still peel. It's the only tree I know that you can peel year round. You can take and peel, and it'll peel off the bark nice and clean in January. But you can't get it underneath the ice, and if you were underneath the ice, the bacteria aren't busy at that point in time because it's too cold. So what you do is you cook it the same way you make corn soup. Anyone ever make corn soup? Dam nabo? So you take you have water and wood ashes. And when I do it with this stuff, I use either an enamel kettle or a cast iron kettle. Those are the types of kettles I use. And then I'll put the coil of bark in there, and I'll do 1 scoop of wood ash to 1 scoop of water. So every time I add the water, I add equal amounts of water and wood ash, and then I'll boil it. And I'll boil it for pretty much all day. So it's a good thing to do on a day when you don't have a lot going on, or you're maybe working on something else. Like if you're making baskets, then you can have your kettle going and just keep kind of checking on it. And that lye that you're making with the wood ashes, that will do the same thing. Then you just rinse it really, really well, because you don't want that lye in your hands. It eats your skin and all that. So just like you rinse your corn, you rinse your wheat beach. All right, I'm going to give you instructions on how to make string. First of all, raise your hand if you are left-handed. Okay, I'm going to help you. We'll do it opposite. I'll show you in a minute, okay? Because this is specific to right and left hand. There's a lot of ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the simplest way. I'm going to take and grab my basswood. I'm going to lay it out like this, and I'm going to grab it not in the middle, but slightly off to the side of the middle. So I got 2 pieces hanging down. One is a little bit longer than the other. There's a reason why we do that. Okay. Now, you guys got it. Now I'm going to do this, but before you do it, I want you to watch me do it a few times. Now I'm going to turn it this way. I'm holding this in my left hand. This is my left hand. I'm horrible with left and rights, by the way, so if I'm wrong, just correct me on that. I'm like left-right dyslexic. So I'm holding this with my left hand in the middle, and I have these pointing off to the right. And now I have a top one and a bottom one. Does everyone see that? I'm going to take the top one, and I'm going to twist it over and away from me as tight as I can. That's clockwise. I'm going the same direction as a clock. I got it twisted up so it's super duper tight. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it over the lower one toward me and over the lower one. So it's laying over the top. Now I'm going to take this top one, twist it clockwise as tight as I can, and I'm going to rotate it and bring it towards me over the front. So the two are really, the two fibers, each one gets twisted clockwise, but together they get twisted counterclockwise. Once I do this, I want to walk around so you can see what I'm doing. It's going to do this, and it's going to grab itself just like that. And it's going to make string or rope. Do you see how it looks? I'm twisting away, folding over. And I'm doing this in really, really tight little twists. So I'm going to come around, I'm going to help you guys, I'll get you started, and then you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I've got a weak hand and a right hand.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if I can. I used to be able to do it, but I don't know if I
Don't
can.
know if you can. Yeah, because it does take quite a bit of. Have you ever rolled it on your leg before? Done it that way?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I'm going to show you. I'm not going to show anyone else this. So nobody else look. Don't look. So you take and lay these side by side, but making sure they don't cross, and then roll them like that, and then do that,
Oh, yeah.
and twist it up, and then make sure you untangle, and then the same thing again. Sometimes it helps if you get like a little bit of water on there, and it doesn't have to be super wet, but just a little damp. They grip better.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
That's how you can make it really fast.
Refresh.
Okay, so I'm coming around. I'm going to teach you. Christy, you've done this before, right? You want to walk around on that side and help show? Okay, cool. So we'll be coming around and helping you. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm twisting away, folding over. So this one twists away and then folds over that way.
Twist away.
Yeah, and then pinch.
Oh, pinch with this.
Yeah, with that hand. Just
I'm
grip.
moving my
yeah.
hand this way.
Yep. Now you're at the top one. Twist away. Fold it over. There you go. And pinch. You got it. And just keep going and practice, and you'll have it. You got it? Yeah, you got it. Is it work? It's working for you. Look at that. It's working. You're getting this. You're getting it. All right. We are making string. Okay, you ready? Yeah. All right. So we're gonna take the top one. We're gonna twist it counter or clockwise as tight as I can. Just to see how tight that is. Then I fold it over. Take this top one and I twist it.
So you're always working the top one.
Yep. You always work the top one and then just fold it over and towards you. Just like that. And then occasionally you just gotta untangle them because they'll get tangled. And let's watch you do it once.
Twist it, what, just a few
Yep.
times?
Yeah. Yep. And then just pinch it right there. You be able to do it fast in a few minutes once you get the hang of it. You got it?
Is it like really tight?
You can't. Yeah, it's better if you do it tight.
Take the next one.
Yep.
And then just twist
So
it under, keep twisting.
I'm gonna twist it with my hand like that, and I'm twisting it away from me, clockwise, and then I fold it over here, and then I twist it away,
Oh, the other one.
and then I fold it over. So every time, the one on the top twists away, and then goes over and toward you, and now this one's on the top. Just like that. And I can keep doing
Which
it
one is
really
this one?
fast.
Oh,
And it looks like that's how it should look. Now I want you to try it and I'm gonna watch you do it.
okay.
So you're gonna spin it away from you.
Away.
Away, you got it.
Okay, so if I do it like this, or am I gonna?
It's easier with your fingers to roll it in your fingers.
Oh, I see. Okay, like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
And now fold it, bring it towards you.
Okay.
There,
Now,
you got
I
it.
roll the other one and then
The same
over?
direction, and
Oh.
just keep doing that same thing, and they'll cling right together, and you'll end up with string.
I go this way. eh?
Yep.
To the north, and then I go.
And then you fold,
and
you
then
bring
I
it towards
fold
you.
over it.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Are you getting it? Let me see here. I think, no.
No.
If it explodes like that, it's not right. So, twist away and then fold.
Towards it. Twist and then fold back. Okay.
So that's the motion right there every time. And I do this thing where I twist it, and then as I twist it, my fingers end up down there so I can kind of
Yeah.
grab.
Oh, okay. So it's just back. Okay.
And then,
So it's like forward, but then put it back towards you and under and around.
yeah, essentially what's happening is you're taking each one of these and you're twisting them clockwise, and then the two get twisted together
Okay.
counterclockwise from that process.
gotcha.
And that creates, it binds and holds, and it
Okay.
makes it really, really strong.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'm coming over this way. I'm gonna help you.
Already tangled mine.
Oh, goodness. You got all kinds of tangles going on. We'll just make it shorter and then we'll keep going.
Alright.
You ready? Start it here. I take the top and I twist it away as tight as I can. Then we fold it over.
Okay.
You spin it away, tight as you can. Fold it over. So every time it's just that same motion. It's spinning it and folding and spinning it and folding.
Alright, we got
Yeah, let me see you do it. You got it. That's it right there. It's not rocket science. Yeah, we are. They're going to make their pieces of basswood first, and we'll use those to tie it up. You got it?
I think so.
Let me see. No, not exactly. Okay, so this top one, I'm going to make it thicker. Hold on, I'm going to fold it over again. This will be easier for you to work with if it's thicker. So this top one spins clockwise, and then it folds over the bottom one, just like that.
Oh, okay.
So now this is the top one, and that spins away, and then you fold it over like that. Every time it's just that same thing. It's spin away, fold over. Spin away, fold over.
Oh, okay. Me glad.
Everybody's courting like crazy.
Get it done?
Yeah. Justin said we got the rest of however long we want to take. So we good. Yeah. You can't do it? You want me to show you again? It's.
Hands aren't strong enough.
Oh, okay.
Because I used to be able to do it, but
Yeah.
I can't.
Let me see here a minute.
Because even trying to roll it on, I can't do it. Like
Oh, just
that.
from you have from your
I
hand,
tried-
yeah. I'll twist yours
Well,
up
let me
for
see.
you.
Okay, just let me see you do it again. Okay, so I roll it towards it that way.
You roll it
and then I
away.
Twist.
Yeah, and you don't even have to. It'll twist on its own.
Oh yeah.
It'll want to do its own twisting. As long as you keep them separate and you.
Oh yeah. So maybe I'm not pressing hard enough. But
Yeah, so and it's really like the key when you're doing it too is you got to start it, like you got to keep them separated, even, and then you start at your fingertips,
Oh, I see.
and then you work to your palm, because if you start here, you don't have enough
Oh, you
space
don't-
to get them rolled
push,
tight.
yeah.
It takes a little bit of practice. I make it look easier than what
Yeah.
it is.
You do.
I didn't, not intentionally, but I've done a lot of it. All right, so everybody's got some.
How do you finish it off?
Okay, that's actually a great question. The question was, how do you finish it off? And the answer to that is that, well, you don't have to. If the cord is made properly, it will not untangle. You could tie a little tie on the end of it, but the more important thing to understand is that you can make it as long as you want. So the reason why I told you not to fold it perfectly in half, but to have that two ends be different lengths, is because we can splice. So if you look here, at this side, I've got pieces that are starting to run out. I'm going to take another piece of weak beech. It's going to be this one right here. And I'm going to tear it up a little bit. And I'm just going to add it in. And I'm going to pretend like it's a part of this bundle. And then I'm going to twist. And I can keep going as long as I want and adding pieces in, and I could make a 3-mile long rope if I wanted to. And it used to be back in the old days, like if you're going to make a fish net to go out and like net fish, you might need to have like literally a mile of this stuff. And if you're going to make a basswood fiber bag, you better have a lot of it. When you make cattail mats to sew up for a winter house, it takes a lot of it. All right, so as you're twisting, I'm gonna show you what we do with tying these up, because I'm making you twist this so that we can tie pieces of bark. There's actually a purpose to your fiber. So what I do is I take my awl and I go right on the end, and right where all of these pieces of bark overlap and come together, these folds, I'm going to take all of them. You got it. And I'm going to push and twist. It's going to make a hole right there. And then pull it out. And I put my little piece of weak beech through my little string. And then I can tie it right up. Just like that. And the end of my dish is secured. And then at the end of the sugar bush season, when I'm ready to store all of these dishes, I untie my little cords on each side, 2 spots, or just snip them. And then I would put this over a fire, heat it up, and make it flat. And then I take 100 dishes, so all flat, 100 sheets of bark, put them all together, opposite of each other, so that when they want to curl, they can't curl because they're like a sandwich, like 2 sides of the sandwich pushed together like that. bind them all up, and that can wait until next year at the sugar bush season. Then to heat them again and fold them and use them year after year after year as your sap dishes. How do you get what?
The residue off before you store it
What residue?
from the tree.
Oh, you wash them.
Just wash with water?
Yeah. Yeah, you can wash birch bark. It's like plastic. It's waterproof. It's antibacterial, antifungal. Nothing.
Is it microwavable?
I wouldn't put it in a microwave. So the other thing you can do with one of these Biscoquinagan is that you can cook in this, and we're going to do that in a few minutes. We're going to actually, we have a grill out there, and we're going to fill one of these full of water, and we're going to put it on the grill, and we're going to cook in it. So, no. Well, I mean, it will, but it'll only burn down to the water line. And then once it's where the water's at, it goes out.
It broke off.
Okay, well, it's probably long enough right there. So now what I want you guys to do is we're going to head over this way, and we're going to get some of these pieces of bark ready. And I'm using on these tables over here. These are our work tables. So if somebody wants to donate your piece of cord, we got a few jobs to do. To tying up these 2 dishes, we need 3 pieces of cord total, because I got one of the parts tied. I'll grab the bark awls, and you can poke a hole in there and get it tied up. And then we have some pieces of bark we need to prep in order to make dishes out of and to heat and bend. So I can show you how to do that as well.
Will that work?
That'll work great. And
That's
take,
the left-handed version.
nice. You figured it out. Yep, you take the clamp off, and then you just want to push and twist. And I'd put it in, as long as it goes through all those layers, anywhere in there. Just kind of squeeze it and push and twist.
Larger one, smaller one.
Yeah. There's one right over there. It can be tied up. All right, so this weegwas, as far as prepping this out and working with it, there's a few jobs that we need to do. The first one is we're gonna have to cut off some of the parts on the bark which are curled, because we won't be able to fold those. So if somebody wants to come over here, I can show you guys how to trim. There are tricks to cutting birch bark. You can use scissors. It does work on really thin bark, but once you get bark this thick, the scissors aren't going to work. So you got to use a knife. If you cut straight in with a knife, the bark is spongy and it will grab your knife, and your knife will not be able to cut. So what you want to do is you want to hold your knife at a 45-degree angle, like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in about that far, and I'm going to create a little bit of, you can hear it squeaky. So now what I need is somebody to put their finger right there. Just hold that down. I won't cut you, I promise. And what I'm doing is slightly lifting up as it's getting pushed down, and that's allowing me to cut. And
You gotta be strong, I guess.
you do. The bark's very, very, very thick.
So was it the men or the woman who did this?
The women did most of this birch bark work back in the day.
Yeah.
And on the canoes, a whole family has built canoes, but it was usually the women that went out and they did the bark and they sewed all the bark, and then the men carved all of the cedar ribs and all of those pieces, and then everyone worked together to stitch it all up. So now somebody can do on this side. Who's brave and strong? There's a lot of brave, strong people here. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut it. Somebody can hold it. You're going to start up in here. Yeah, the holder is definitely the brave one. And then I got somebody over here can trim this one.
The clinic is open today.
Yep. Yep. So what you want to do is you want to take and go at here I can get. Yeah. So you're gonna see this 45-degree angle. You're gonna go really slow, and you're gonna lift up on this piece of bark, the narrow piece you're cutting off as you're pulling it.
And you just try to keep it straight, huh?
Keep it straight. Yeah. And as long as you keep it at an angle, it'll cut. We can do the same with this one here. We want to cut it probably right about.
You want to cut this curve off.
Yeah, and I want to get rid of that. Well, we're going to go about, yeah. About right in there.
That's okay, yeah.
Oh, it's okay. You can break that off too,
Yeah.
because that doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It's all scrap.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is all scrap.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you want to go in quite a ways here.
Yeah, because I want to get rid of some of that really, because it's already cracked right there.
An angle.
Yeah, that looks good.
That's how I know if I'm doing it wrong, huh?
There you go, yeah. Got it, yeah. Whoop.
It's tricky, isn't it? Here, I can lift up on this piece as you're doing it. It'll make it go a lot better.
Oh, okay.
You have to lift up.
That's what she's doing first, and it
Yeah,
went real
see?
fast.
All right, now we got to clean it. So on bark like this is really canoe bark. It's super thick, but I think we can split it. So I'm going to show you guys how to split bark. The birch bark is in layers. Hi.
What are we making?
Birch bark sap dishes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to hold this kind of between my knees a little bit. And I'm going to run down it like that.
Stand back.
Let's see if I can get in on this side of it better. This is really, this would be a nice, big, heavy-duty basket.
So are you cutting down the whole tree?
No, you can peel a birch tree and take the bark off, and the tree will live just fine.
Yeah, even that thick?
Yeah. The thing is that the inner bark of the tree doesn't look anything like this. It's like all little tiny pieces, like almost like corkboard. And as long as that's not damaged on the tree will regrow this. It won't be white and beautiful. Of course, it's the black scar bark, but the tree will live just fine.
I've seen you guys working at it.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to split this down so that we can get it a little bit thinner, because it'll bend easier if we get it thinner. So I'm going to tear. When you're tearing bark and trying to clean it and get into it, you don't want to go usually too much from the end. You want to pull it at kind of an angle like that. And it'll split off when it hits those Thunderbirds for sure.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah. That's what they look like. You can see it on here. See them right here? There's his head, there's their wings. And there's stories behind all of those things too.
You should have been here. You were in the other room.
Okay, so if you guys want to work on kind of splitting this down, you want to just work from one edge. Try to find these layers, and if you can remove some of this thickness off of here. It doesn't have to be super consistent for what we're making. Let's have a look at this one here.
Cut this.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wanted to cut over there.
I'm not gonna cut
Does it matter where your angle's at?
No, as long as it's a 45-degree angle.
Either way.
45
Yep.
degrees.
So you start up here, probably right about here. Yep, at that 45. And what you're going to do is, okay, now what I want you to do is push down there.
Push down.
Yeah, and actually, try lifting it up as you're cutting. Yep, pull your knife. Yeah, there you go. Then you just got it. The trick is keeping it straight. Good, beautiful. That's how it's done.
Easy. I thought you had to work.
Wow. Natural.
Nice. Okay, now on this side, what we're going to do with this one is we want to try to split some of the... Hi, how's it going? Great seeing you.
See layers there. Huh?
Yeah, so what we want to do is we want to try to get underneath this layer here. And if we go from this edge,
You want to work from one side, do you?
yeah, one side is better because you start going from the other side, you'll get it to a different layer and they won't really match up too good. This is really, all of these pieces of bark don't like to split too much, but it's not too bad if I get started. Well, and if there's thick stuff that is left, that's okay. We'll trim that down, like on the knots. Okay, so now we got to get it in here. So the way that we're going to slide it back towards me, and we're going to bend it. And that's how we get into it. Just like that. Sometimes we get into it from an edge, like this, right on the corner. Don't want to crack it though.
outside of the basket?
Yep, this would be the outside.
Why do you
Yep.
have to take all of that off?
Because for this type of basket, it's too thick. It'll be hard to get the tight bends and it might crack. And if it gets a crack in the corner, it's going to drip and leak. So you guys can keep working on that. Kind of bend it and manipulate it a little bit so you can get under one of these edges. And then from there, you can just, find a spot and try to work your fingers underneath there.
There you go.
It's harder than what you think. On this piece of bark, it's not easy. But if you work as a team,
What do you do with this?
okay, I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. I got to get my Mokotogan for that. Okay, so when we get a knot where we got a really rough spot, the backside of that Thunderbird, what I'm going to do is I'm going to thin it using my Mokotogan. That one's really thick. Got some thick ones on it, doesn't it? If I was outside, I'd throw this over a log so it had a nice curve, so it's easier to get at. Yeah, so you can do the other ones with that. And just any thick area like that, just run right down it and just scrape it right down. Yeah, it's looking good. Brush all that up.
Can you make the basket with all that stuff on?
Yeah,
Yeah? Like
you can.
Yeah?
You could, yeah. We're with these, because we're folding it up and because everyone's new at folding, I want it to get thinner so it's going to be easier for people.
Oh, I see.
But on some baskets, you can leave all of that on there, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I wanted to make, I wanted to teach myself how to make them.
Oh, yeah.
And use a spruce.
Yeah, that's what I use, yeah, when I sew up my baskets and my canoes that I make, yep. Yeah, and I usually get my spruce either where it grows right by the sand
Oh, yes.
or in a sphagnum bog where it's boggy, because then you just pull up the moss and then all the roots are just laying right there. You pick the ones you want, the right size.
How much do you charge to do
A canoe? I've never sold a canoe. I've made.
How much would you charge to show us how to do a canoe? Show you that. Say, for example, if you were going to do that at our next Potawatomi.
Oh boy, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I mean, because it would just be a matter of the covering the materials and the time to get them ready.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it would probably
Well, if you
be.
give that business card?
Yeah, I write down my contact for information.
That'd be great.
Because that would be fun. We could do
Yeah,
that.
because I've got kids at home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So if we had that at the Potawatomi gathering, it would be awesome.
That's probably pretty good right there. I think you're thin enough.
Okay, what about this?
That's fine. Yep. That's gonna be okay. So yeah, I'm gonna show these.